Welcome to another episode of TeeVo The Beard.
You can't see us, but I'm TeeVo and that's The Beard.
You also can't see it, but I'm eating leftover mac and cheese, and TeeVo is eating popcorn.
White cheddar.
White cheddar popcorn, yes.
And as always, please follow us on our various social medias.
Instagram and Twitter.
You can find us at TeeVo Podcast. That's TeeVo Podcast.
Right, and also TeeVoPodcast@gmail.com for any questions, comments.
And clearly, if you're listening to this, you are aware of our YouTube.
Right.
So
yeah. Which, because of YouTube's rules, we don't have an official name on yet. But if you search TeeVo The Beard, you'll get, it's like, of all things, it's the second option in the search. The first option is one of our videos, but the second option is actually the channel.
Which is still us, so
yeah.
You are technically there.
Yes, yeah. We are everywhere. So we're going to be talking about Supergirl, Black Lightning, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a little Star Trek, a little Flash. We got a full plate today.
Because the shows are back.
The shows are back, except for Legends.
Yes. But speaking of Legends, we'll get to that soon.
Yeah. Yeah, Legends and iZombie are both coming back in February.
Yes.
So
let's just start with the CW. They had the bulk of the shows, so I guess we'll let them.
Well, as many of our fans know, we are now both Supergirl fans and have both been looking forward to the return here. So in this episode, the Legion of Superheroes, struggling to heal from her injuries inflicted by Rain, Supergirl remains in a dreamlike state, unable to be reached. Mon-El, I went very country on that one. Mon-El recruits a Legion member to try to bring her back. The DEO teams up with the Legion of Superheroes to try to stop Rain. So, what were your initial thoughts of this episode?
Well, first of all, when they show the picture of Brainiac 5, which is the Legion member that they speak of, I guess I didn't have a clear picture of what I want my Brainiac 5 to look like.
Right, yeah.
So, needless to say, that wasn't it.
Right.
Was I going to be negative about it? It's like, no, but I'm just being honest. Like I said, if I thought of Brainiac 5, that's not the person.
Yeah.
Cut to watching the episode, that's who I thought.
That's totally Brainiac 5.
Yeah.
Now, I know that the cult leader, the religious cult leader, is played by Chad Lowe, which is Rob Lowe's brother.
Don't look anything alike.
No, but after watching Orville with Brainiac, I had to make sure that wasn't played by Rob Lowe. Because he almost had kind of that Rob Lowe in alien garb personality. Yeah. No, he did very well at that. That is hashtag my Brainiac. And
it's not like, I still have problems with the costume at all. I don't.
Right.
It was just, if you're going to judge it, if you're going to release a picture and make that and tell your audience, here's a snap judgment. What do you think? And, my judgment at the time was, okay, well, it's different. I wouldn't, that's not how I would have done it, but I haven't watched the episode.
But yeah, no, I totally love the character. No.
And I still love Saturn Girl.
Yeah, Saturn Girl.
For obvious reasons, I'm sorry.
Right. And Mon-El, I like that Mon-El wasn't the center of the Legion of Superheroes there. I mean, yeah, he's obviously the team leader, so to speak, but it wasn't just him swooping in and saving the day and doing everything by himself with a couple people behind him. Everybody had their fair share.
And it was lovely that someone was actually thinking about the ramifications of time.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking at a certain somebody.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe in this case, a lot of somebody's, but it was just nice because you're thinking, oh, why don't you do anything? And then he's explaining. He's like, no, I mean, if we die, a lot of things are going.
There's a bigger problem.
Yeah. And we're really sorry.
Yeah.
But we can tell you. And they kept trying to, they kept trying to make it better. It's like, she goes away. Yeah. We know that.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel better at all, it didn't.
It didn't. No.
But they kept saying, this problem will go away. Go.
Now, one thing that struck me on the wrong chord when this episode first started is that we see Kara in her flat, in her loft, whatever you want to call it. And my first reaction went to the first episode of Flash from this season where everything was cured well before the end of the episode. And I thought they were doing that with this one. But then you find out this is a mental state that she's in. She's in a coma, but believes that she's in her loft. And I like that they did that. And the fact that she was basically out of it for, the entire episode. Yeah, and there was kind of we know as fans and with common sense that she was coming back.
Yeah.
But there still was that little back and forth of, okay, is she coming out of this coma? When is she? How is she going to be?
Because I like the extra sense of like and again, like you said, we knew she was coming back, regardless of the amount of obstacles. It was just nice to have obstacles, like when Brainiac 5 was saying, "You should be fine. I don't see anything wrong here." Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the character named Brainiac. Didn't know everything.
Yeah. I did love, we're jumping here, but, the Legion of Superhero did jump into battle.
Yes.
And I like that Brainiac 5 is purely, the man behind the scene.
Yeah.
And I like that he was multitasking while trying to help Supergirl in her dreamlike state and coordinate the battle sequence.
And then try to lie to Supergirl about it.
I just love, she's like, "Are you battling?" "No." "Mono, evade!"
Yeah. And then tries to start juggling oranges to prove that he's not.
Yeah.
So what about the comedy in this episode? I thought it was a little heavier than it should have been. Like with the Martian Manhunter coming as Supergirl to, receive the soup. And then
I thought it was a nice
Jimmy Olsen
moment.
kiss.
I thought it was a nice moment just because of the comedy of it. You told me earlier this week Melissa Benoist is the best at playing herself while not playing herself.
Yeah.
That was... and just when she sat down, and then that subtle corrected herself. Yeah. That was great. What's also not great was, so I was watching. I had someone over because when they aired Supergirl, it was a holiday, so nobody was at work.
Right.
So I had someone over watching other shows, and then I said, "Okay, we have to stop the show because Supergirl's about to come on."
Yeah.
So I'm watching Supergirl with someone who doesn't watch Supergirl, and even they could tell Katie McGrath's accent.
Oh, I think that I was watching it and I was kind of going back and forth on if we should even mention it in this episode. And I think this should be the official last time we mention it because they really do not care. It is part of her character now for whatever reason. It may be explained one day. It may not.
I just thought it was worth pointing out that someone who doesn't, because maybe we're thinking, maybe we're being too harsh. Maybe we'll watch it so.
But we have proof now.
We have proof now. Someone who does not care about Supergirl would notice. So that's not how you say that exactly.
Yeah. So Katie, we're gonna leave you alone now. That was it.
Or the editor.
Or the editor. Yeah.
Because sometimes you're thinking, was that really the best take?
Yeah, and it might have been, and you just had to do with the pronunciation because everything else went perfectly.
Oh.
But no, I think this was a great episode to start it back. It had enough action in it, but it also had enough to let you know there is more to come. This isn't the last of anybody.
No.
Everybody who was in this episode was important and will continue to be important for multiple episodes to come.
And speaking of more to come, so what do you think of that last twist? Can we get a reminder what that was?
Yes, can we get a reminder of which twist you're talking about?
Oh, the one that, Rain's not the only one.
Oh, yeah.
There are more.
Yeah.
So when you say more to come, they really mean, oh, no, there's more. Yeah.
My brain sometimes gets a lot of these episodes kind of confused and locked together. This I think was almost better than the season premiere. As far as, setting things up and making me want to see the next episode like now instead of waiting a week.
Well, I think there's advantages to that because surprisingly enough, overall, I think CW has kind of been good lately about keeping certain things mum. Because when the season premiere of Supergirl happened, we knew a lot of things. We didn't know how. Like, we knew Odette Annabelle's character. Oh, hey, the single mom. Yeah, that's the bad guy.
Right.
We know that. I mean, yay, but we know that. Oh, Maggie and Alex get married. Well, she's going to leave. Yeah. We don't know how, but so
we knew it was coming.
There were certain things that was going to happen. We didn't know how, but we just knew. This time, I don't know. That's kind of the beauty of it. Other than the Legion coming, we don't really know what's happening.
It's like CW has listened to our complaints about knowing too much, and is starting to keep things under wraps a lot better.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's still stuff like, we're going to release Mon-El's uniform. So it's like...
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. But we see what's coming.
Yeah. And we know that Mon-El is there.
Right. Yeah.
Unless, he was wearing a whole different suit. Then that's
Yeah.
That's different, but, like Rain. We knew she was coming.
Right.
And then you release a suit soon after the premiere. It's like, oh, well. Well, thanks.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more of this season. The only problem that I have, along with every other Supergirl fan, is what they're going to be doing to us in a few weeks. I love Legends of Tomorrow, but the fact that we're stopping Supergirl for a little bit, bringing in Legends, and then bringing back Supergirl.
Well, you know what? I'm going to segue to that. Let's talk about that. So, I am on the boat with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But Legends yesterday decided to say, hey, we know you haven't been watching.
Right.
What do you think of this? So, the main complaint I've had about The Flash for quite some time now,
mm-hmm.
and I know you feel the same way,
mm-hmm.
is so Wally is just you just
gone.
You just don't care.
Right.
The show just doesn't care, and it's terrible because you would think, okay, well, if you don't care, we're gonna focus on the sole hero. No, you added another hero. You just elect not to use Wally.
Right.
So Legends yesterday said
mm-hmm.
he's coming to our show.
Right. So you get Constantine and Kid Flash.
And
they're like, we want TiVo to watch this.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Do you think they were looking into your dreamscape? And
a little bit, and there got me a little bit with Constantine.
Right.
Enough that maybe I will heavily look at clips of this unnamed YouTuber I will not mention.
Right. Hence the unnamed part.
Yeah. But now
Kid Flash will have you watching more than clips.
I can't promise anything.
Right.
So thankfully that's not happening till when?
February 26th.
Okay. So I have time to think about it, but let's just say Legends, you're going somewhere.
I'm wondering how they're gonna fit him in, because I mean, they made the introduction of Constantine work because of the way the episode went. It could only have worked in that episode.
Yeah.
How do you bring Kid Flash into there?
Okay, so
and it makes sense.
So I read that Kid Flash has appeared in one episode earlier.
Mm.
So that happened.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
But it was like a one-off, blink and you miss it sort of thing.
Oh, well, how about that?
Yeah, and you blinked.
So even they almost forgot about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I don't know, I guess because they know him, maybe they can just call him and be like, hey,
we heard you're not doing anything.
Yeah, really? Hey, we got a couple spots open.
Right.
They can make it some kind of slide thing. Like, apparently your show doesn't care about you.
Right, yeah. We heard Central City doesn't need you anymore, so why don't you come travel time with us? And
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I still haven't made the decision because it's yesterday, so it's yet to really sink in whether I'm going to watch it, but I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm really paying attention. Will I go back and watch other Legends of Tomorrow? Nope.
No, right.
Not at all.
Well, and that's what I've even told people about, like watching season 2. I've enjoyed that more than season 1. I think people could jump right in at season 2 and not worry about any of the past stuff, because anything you need to have explained to you will be explained in like a sentence or two. So, and then you just move on. It's not like some of these other shows where you have to know what came before to enjoy it now. Mm-hmm. So, but speaking of beginnings, the newest thing on the docket,
yes, is one that I was excited about. It's the new show Black Lightning,
right?
Titled The Resurrection. So, retired vigilante Jefferson Pierce gets pulled back into fighting crime as his alter ego Black Lightning.
Right. So, origin story.
Origin story, yeah.
Pilot episode.
Yes.
I also do, besides doing this show, I review comics on Geeks Worldwide.
Yes.
And one thing that I've started to differentiate between doing this show and doing those is how I view things by themselves. When I'm reviewing a comic, I'm reviewing that issue of the comic. The stuff before it matters, yes. The stuff after it doesn't matter yet because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
With TV shows, I'm starting to be a lot different, where I look at a show like Black Lightning and go, okay, the acting was really good. The script was good. The special effects were good. Was the episode good? It was necessary to introduce the character, especially to those of us who have never read a Black Lightning comic before. But I think episode 2 is going to sway my opinion one way or the other on if I enjoy the show. Because if I just judged on this one episode alone, I mean, I probably wouldn't come back to it just because it was a long-winded origin episode, and I'm kind of origined out. What are your thoughts?
I looked at it obviously a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good. I looked at it on the baser instinct of watching TV. Mm-hmm. How does this episode make me feel?
Okay.
And we're gonna get to a little more of that when we mention The Flash.
Yeah.
How did the show make me feel? How did I feel watching the show? And can the show keep me feeling that way? Which was, I enjoyed the time it was. I mean, I knew it was gonna be origin. You know, there's so many comic book things out there, whether it's movies, comics, TV shows, webisodes.
Yeah.
The first thing is always going to be the introduction. So that's not a secret anymore.
Right.
But what really captivated me about this one was they knew how to write the story. So I don't have the showrunners' names in my head yet. But they knew how to introduce a character.
So you're not following them on social media yet?
I don't even follow the people I like, the shows I like. So hold your horses there.
Okay, yeah.
But it did well on introducing people,
and
it did well setting up the stakes.
Right. Yeah.
Because we knew from the offset that he's not Black Lightning anymore, and it did help with the intro with the daughter doing the voiceover saying, let me tell you the story about Black Lightning.
Right. Yeah.
And also, later on in the episode, it echoed how I felt watching Luke Cage. Not in the obvious way.
Right, yeah.
But it echoed the notion we know with a feel of the city. There is a very unique thing about this show, as opposed to where Legends, and I guess sometimes Arrow, sometimes, in Flash and Supergirl, they feel the same sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't get that from Black Lightning.
Okay.
It has that urban feel to it, and soundtrack helps.
Yeah, did have definitely a good soundtrack.
It helps set the tone, and then the club scene, even though it's the bad guys, it did set the tone for me on the environment I'm in. And I think that's what really kind of tipped me over to, I think I'm really going to like this show.
And so you're also given all the reasons why I had to look at it on its skeleton form, because the thing with origin stories is they're all basically starting to look the same, at least to me. Yeah. And you can put a different gloss on it, like this one has an urban theme, but it's still you're watching this person, he's gonna have great power and great responsibility, and it's
there was no surprise on things happening.
But at least for me, and this is more of a warning than a criticism to our listeners if they decide to watch it. The first part, the first half of this episode, drags. I mean, just drags so much that I stopped it and had to come back to it later because it was boring me a little bit. Not because of the script or anything, just because of what I was wanting. I had just watched Supergirl or something like that. I'd watched one of our shows previous to watching this one. I should have watched this one first. And so, I wanted some action. I wanted to get the power part of the story moving on, which it does get to.
Yeah.
But you have to get through that first half.
Well, just because sometimes the first episode is not the best, doesn't mean the show can't improve. Oh, yeah. I.e., I hated Supergirl.
Right.
First time I watched it. Amongst other reasons.
First season.
First season.
Yeah.
In fact, I still don't even want to watch the first season.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So when I tell people to watch Supergirl, I said just watch season 2 on. So not a complete death notice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely giving it at least one more episode, if not more, to go. Do I like this? Because for comic book shows, I have to really like the character and want them to succeed. I want them to have problems. Yeah. This is the reason I don't care for Superman that much. I want humanness in my characters.
Right.
So as long as he can bring that, which it seems like he can, I will definitely keep watching, and I'll be considered a fan for sure. Because the aesthetics of this show, it does look and feel different than any of the other CW stuff. When they say that he won't cross over,
I don't believe
it, but I could see why a crossover episode wouldn't
not
work.
yet.
Right. Well, then we find out that he's on like Earth 27
Oh, that's
or something.
fine. But as they happily do on the other shows, they have done multiverse so happily. So
yeah,
I'm not watching it in expectation. Oh, I can't wait till Supergirl comes on.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't believe you when you say you're not crossing over, but I'm not expecting it tomorrow.
But he better, and I think it would be best if, like Supergirl, he was in a different Earth than Flash and Arrow. Yeah. I don't think his Earth fits with Central City.
No.
Yeah.
Just already, like you said, the aesthetics just don't even match.
Yeah.
But
it was nice to see CW trying some new stuff and a different thing.
And I think, I don't want to jump the gun on this too much, but I think this is maybe, it feels like this is CW's version of making a superhero show for maybe an older audience.
Yeah.
Because, the central character is not a happy-go-lucky 20-something-year-old.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so...
he is a grown man.
He's a grown man with grown problems and two grown children.
Yep.
So, I hope that they don't make it puppy dogs and rainbows.
Right, yeah.
To please the other CW shows.
Right. Because CW has to realize that there's more than teens and 20-year-olds watching these shows. No offense to you 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
But there are, grown-ups watching these shows too. So it is nice to have something a little different. Because different can be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as me, unless they go off the rails like The Flash,
yeah,
I don't see why. If anything, I will be the person talking a lot about this show, much like maybe you with Star Trek.
Right. Yeah. But this is one that I can see its potential, definitely. Unlike, and I'll take the reins on this one because I actually watched the episode.
Yes, you did.
The Flash.
Don't worry, people. I know what happens.
This episode is called The Trial of the Flash. This is
like the comic.
Right. No, not like the comic at all. We're going to keep this part of the review kind of short because some of our audience has mentioned the fact that we get a little overly critical of the Flash, which is true. We've knocked down its special effects. We've gone on and on about Wally, so I understand. So I think almost just the description itself is almost the review. As Barry's trial for the murder of Clifford DeVoe begins, Iris and Joe must decide how far they are willing to go to keep Barry out of prison. So, spoiler, Barry's found guilty. He ends up going to prison, same prison as his dad. Iris and Joe are not willing to go step over that line because they want to stay good, they want to stay clean. And the big bad of the week is Radioactive Man. The end. It was it's an episode where it mostly takes place in the courts, and it feels like the writers had about 25 minutes worth of court stuff written.
Yep.
Realized they needed to fill 45 minutes, so they concoct this radioactive guy, save the day in a minute, and then we get back to the court, and he's declared guilty. There's really not much to the episode at all, and that's probably the same thing you got from just reading the description.
Yeah.
I'm hoping though.
Yeah.
So here's my hope for the Flash.
Right. Hope with the Flash?
Hope with the Flash. He stays in prison for a while. For at least 2 or 3 episodes. Let there be some ramifications for what has happened. Even though we know he's innocent. Let something, let other people get their spot in the sun for more than one episode, and definitely more than half an episode. So, let him be in prison. Let him grow his beard out some.
From reading it, and like I said, reading future synopsize.
Yeah.
We're going episode by episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what hopes I have. Just if
I know you're not a fan of
Elongated Man.
Yeah. So
and next week's episode is all Elongated Man apparently.
Yeah, because somebody has to start saving the world when the Flash can't be there.
Yeah, and I'm dumbfounded now just on my opinions of the Flash. I don't know what happened. I really don't. And even though we've broken it down so hard, I still don't know how it went off the rails like that.
Yeah. So, Flash, you're on thin ice. Let's see what happens.
And if you think, because because it has people I like, as I've broken it down to someone this week, if you have someone I like or things I like in it, that will get me in.
Mm-hmm.
But the show needs to keep me to stay.
Right, yeah.
Like, prime example, I'm not watching The Gifted anymore.
Okay.
Because I really didn't care.
Right.
I learned I really didn't care about it. I only really wanted to see myself.
For me, it was when all the adult characters started looking the same, and I really couldn't differentiate between who's mom and who is Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like when all the characters start looking the same to me, I obviously don't care enough.
I still like the actress that plays Polaris, and
right.
I like the actor that plays Thunderbird, so this is nothing against them. It's just, it got me in.
Right.
But you couldn't make me stay.
Mm-hmm. Now, one show that got you in and keeps you.
That's we are on marriage level.
Yeah, you're like in constant honeymoon level with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. So we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. entitled The Last Day. Coulson and the team discover the most unexpected person from S.H.I.E.L.D.'s past may hold the key to preventing Earth's destruction.
Yes. So, initial thoughts.
I will say that this is one of those moments where looking up future synopsis kind of bites me. Because if I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't know what the episode order is, or the episode airings are, because I knew that there are episodes leading into the first Friday of February.
Right.
And then they're supposedly going to take a break for the Winter Olympics. Right. And they'll be back in March.
Which I think is so weird because they're the only ones doing it.
There are a couple other shows doing it, I saw. Of my shows, at least.
Oh, no, well, I just meant from the ones we do.
Yeah. Of my other shows, some of them are doing it. Or preemptively just saying, you know what? Let's try not to coordinate, and let's just say, we're just going away.
Yeah.
So you guys can do whatever you want.
Right, yeah.
And I think that's what S.H.I.E.L.D.'s doing, too. Because in the episode, it looks like preemptive repeat, just in case something comes up, and they don't have to worry about making us mad.
Right, yeah.
And then just say, hey, we're just going away, so
in case you want to watch downhill skiing, go do that.
Yeah.
And then come back in a couple weeks.
So I knew that was the airing order. And based on how they do pods now, I know that there's more to the story happening until that February.
Yes.
So if I didn't know all that stuff, I guess this would have been more of a revelatory episode for me. But it just, for me, it was a lot of still setting up the stage for the conclusion.
Right.
Which I know is, the next 2 episodes of it. Did I not like it? No. It's just if I didn't know those things, I would say I would have took more into it. I did like, however, the backstory of Robin though.
Right.
And I have a couple observations from that, but I'll let you get on to your thoughts.
You tell me what right when I take a big piece of pizza there.
And I just ate a big kernel.
So, I don't pre-read synopsis.
I can't help it sometimes.
I know. Well, you also have more time on your hands than I do.
Yeah.
This, even without reading anything, there was no big revelations to me. It was kind of odd the way they did the jumping back and forth in time, like from 2018 to 22 to their current time. That did take a minute to sink in what was going on there, and I'm still not entirely sure I understand, even though I've read a possible explanation. What gets me with this show, though, is the fact that even with the synopsis, I'm sure we don't know everything, so we're still learning. Things are surprising. I love that we have the original family back, minus Ward, and they're all together on the Zephyr. Yo-Yo and Mac and Pebbles, and I love that he calls Finn Pebbles, have their own thing going. So you have an A and a B plot, but it's almost unfair calling it A and B. It's like A1 and A2.
I will say I love the moments where they're hunting down the aliens.
Yes.
It did really make me feel like a mini aliens thing.
Right.
If that was their feel, good job.
And those of us that are fans of Stranger Things, those aliens look like Demogorgon from the second season of Stranger Things. And the music kind of felt the same way too.
Right.
But yeah, we, like you said earlier, marriage level with this show. So we care about the characters.
Oh, yeah.
We want to see them succeed.
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to see them all survive. And so when it gets very close that some of them might not, it makes you worry about them.
And me pointing out the whole knowing future airings, it just there's no sense of like, oh, this episode has some conclusion.
Right.
I just know that it doesn't.
Yeah, and
so I think if I didn't know all that stuff, it didn't, obviously. But it could have surprised me. But I went in knowing, well, we're not going to get all the answers tonight.
I think this one, though, did have the best cliffhanger so far for this season. Because it's one where I was like, no, this can't be the end of this episode. Yeah. There's at least 10 more minutes somewhere that I need. I need a little bit more, closure before we end this. So I say we get as spoilerful as we want on this. We know that the agents are going to make it back.
Yes.
What I've noticed, though, in talking to one of our fans, is that Robin doesn't mention how they're going to get back. At least not out loud.
Yes.
What's going to happen when they get back, and if it's a good thing if they're going to get back. Because watching it live, I just assumed, oh yeah, they're going to get back. They're going to save the day. They're going to win. They're the good guys.
Yeah.
But then in talking to our one of our longtime fans, she doesn't say that. So it does kind of make it this cloudy, answer.
Well, I know you mentioned earlier the whole time jump thing, and you were a little confused about that.
Mm-hmm.
It echoed me because I'd like to get your opinion because you have been critical about certain time travel shows.
Yes.
So for anybody listening out there who is a fan of Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to try to shortly sum up a whole arc.
Okay.
But essentially there was a character in the middle of the show that came from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to warn our heroes, hey, in 3 years, there's going to be an attack. All of you die in this. So I'm here to tell you about it so we can prevent it.
Right.
So in most other time travel shows, his timeline should then therefore be erased.
Right.
From that moment.
Yeah, if he did his job.
So it created a bunch of paradoxes. There are two separate timelines, essentially almost a parallel universe, because at the end of it, after the end of it, he comes and still helps the heroes 3 years later, and then they do all this stuff. They fight the bad guys, they defeat the bad guys. He goes home.
Okay.
To the timeline.
Okay.
In his timeline, everybody that he warned is still dead, but he is in a parallel, kind of like a B timeline.
Okay.
And that's what this episode reminded me of. Because when she's looking at 2018, 2022, there's May.
Right. And Fitz.
And definitely Fitz. Yeah. We didn't see Simmons a lot after 2018.
Yeah. But we get a glimpse of Yo-Yo.
But they were taken in 2017.
Right.
So that's a timeline where they shouldn't be there.
Right.
So that's what it kind of echoed me of. Is she like not only going to the future, doing things in the future, seeing the past, but she's seeing like a parallel timeline.
And see, I'm with you on that. Because in viewing it before, looking at anything else online, I viewed it as two different timelines going on. It's like if they wouldn't have been captured, here's what would have gone on.
Yeah. And
Robin can kind of see into both timelines at the same time.
Yeah.
Because if you're a seer, who's to say what you can and can't see?
Yeah. Yeah.
But from what I was told this morning, it's actually when we do the flashbacks, we're seeing when the agents went back in time to try to fix what they're currently in. Does that make sense? See, and I don't get that. Is where I start having problems with TV doing, time jumps and stuff like that, because that doesn't make any sense to me. And I definitely did not get that in my viewing of it, because when Voss tries to kill Daisy,
Yes.
So that the Earth will not get destroyed, even though they're in a time where the Earth already got destroyed. My first thought was, well, that's stupid because killing her now won't change the time that you are currently in. So you've accomplished nothing there. It would be like you were saying with Dragon Ball, where everybody would still be dead. And,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, yeah, in that from that point in the show, you still get the happy timeline that the time traveling character did not get to live.
Yeah.
And subsequently in the new Dragon Ball series, he still isn't in a happy timeline. But our main heroes in a universe still gets to live and be happy and still fight bad guys and whatnot.
The Voss seemed to believe that if he killed Daisy, that would take care of his timeline that he was currently in and make the Earth never destroyed.
That's a good point. I can roll with that. I didn't really get that from my viewing.
Yeah, no.
But explaining it like that, sure.
Yeah.
That does kind of bring up somewhat of a depressing outlook on the conclusion of the future space arc.
It's like, so if that arc ends and they're all dead and we go to a different arc, is that a different timeline that we're in now? Or?
As I said earlier, whenever I read future synopses, I don't get any of this. So it's not like I have any concrete outlook.
There's no insider trading here.
Yeah, there is none. It's just simply knowing, okay, 26th there's an episode, and the 2nd there's an episode. Yay!
Yeah. What I like about a show like this, though, is they're not afraid to take chances. So whether it be whatever they're doing with the timeline, and then killing Robin.
Yeah.
That is it. And I mean, like, at first when they stabbed her, I was like, okay, she's going to make it. She's got May taking care of her. She's going to survive. And there is still a 0.00001% chance that she will. But, it's still a Whedon run show. She could die and stay dead.
But I have no idea what's going to happen. All I know is next week's going to be an episode, and then the next week after that is the conclusion of the episode, supposedly.
Yeah.
But what happens?
And then
I just don't know.
And then what are there, if any, ramifications from this arc, like there was with the framework?
Yeah. And even Ghost Rider had its own. Yeah. Well, I mean, the framework.
Yeah. And then what do you think about your blue girl?
Oh, she's wonderful.
Least, I think this episode she had the least lines that she's had so far. But I love when Blue Spock tells her, their weakness. It's like, yeah, you shoot anybody with those metal balls, they're going to die. It's not really knowing their weakness.
It's not like I have my ace in the hole.
Right. It's like, yeah, you kill them. That's their weakness.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to like Blue Spock a little bit more because he said, when you find Daisy, bring her back alive. And if you don't, long pause. I thought he was going to say, don't come back at all or something like that, totally turn on her the way everybody's turned on him. He goes, we'll have a nice trophy. So it's like, you're a bad guy and I don't like you, but you got some heart.
You're like, you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
You bad guy.
Blue Spock.
But that's what, I was thinking about that last night when I was watching it. I was thinking, other than my little parallel story with the timeline and stuff, I don't really have too many things I wanted to share because there's just a lot we don't know.
Yeah, and it was definitely a setup episode. I mean, it literally, they explained that it's a setup episode while they're doing it. It was cool, though, to find out that the people that were on the surface were not good guys. Because I just assumed, like everybody else, that these are the people who...
Yay!
It's the resistance, basically, that they were trying to get to.
I did feel bad for Deke for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's like, okay, Deke didn't know he was part of the bad guys.
Yeah.
So, and he lost his dad in not knowing.
Yeah.
But one more quick thing that... Because sometimes you pick up on things that I don't watch in it. So the piece of the monolith they have... Fitz and Coulson both say... This piece will not work by itself because we do not have the other piece. But yet, they did not try it. They have no proof, unless I missed something, that this isn't going to work. Was there something said or done that, like in season 1 or something that I may have missed that proves that they can't do anything with this one sliver?
Was it is he drawing from the first monolith they encountered with season 2 and season 3?
That's why I'm asking this. Because it seemed like a big... I mean, if I was trapped and I thought that any part of the monolith could help, I would have at least tried it. You know, it's kind of like if your car's on empty, you're still going to turn the key.
I think they're basing it off that because they know the first monolith they ever encountered, it was a giant thing.
Yeah.
And it engulfs you to take your travel. This is a tiny little thing, so they're probably just basing it on a little common sense. I think. It's like, well, yeah, but they don't have the means, I think, to ignite, the monolith to make it do its thing. I don't think.
Yeah.
Nor can that entire little rock swallow a person.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was like with the gravitonium last week that I totally had missed the quote on that was in there. So I wasn't sure if I had, blinked again and didn't see something or hear something.
I think Fitz is just going on common sense. This little tiny rock it's just, if I can hold it, it's not going to take me anywhere.
Right.
I took it as that.
He has no suspension of disbelief there. In a time-traveling space show.
Hey, well, he took the long way.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He didn't get to go the cool way like everybody else did.
Okay, so that could change his point of view.
Maybe.
Yeah, hey, that's a good point. But while we're in space, so I'm still watching Star Trek Discovery because it's still awesome. This episode was called The Wolf Within, and it says, the crew continues their guise. Burnham goes on a mission in hopes of helping the USS Discovery return home. Tilly works to restore Stamets. Anthony Rapp's character.
So last we spoke about this, they are still in
They're still in the mirror-verse, even in this episode.
Okay.
And
it's a shock to you.
It is. And remind me, the actress who plays Burnham?
Sonique Martin Green.
Yes. Give her...
Soniqua Martin Green.
Give her all the Emmys. Because I do not know what she is trying to do. I mean, she does things that is definitely going to help the Discovery, and is definitely going to get them back to their universe.
Right.
But she is also doing things and making decisions that are very Mirror Universe-y.
And this is not the Mirror Universe version.
Right. This is our universe version. So she's still doing things that are, kind of evil. I mean, they may accomplish something good in the long run, and one of these things does. But, yeah, it's not the Burnham that we thought we knew from before.
Okay.
This episode has 2 big reveals in it, though.
Okay.
Yes, and
spoiler.
This is one time I am definitely going to warn our listeners, if you are watching Discovery and you have not seen episode 11, stop this right now, go watch it, then come back.
Okay.
Because these are 2 huge spoilers. So, we have Ash, that's the love interest of Michael.
Right.
And so yes, he has a kind of a female name. She has kind of a masculine name there. So come to find out, he is not who he claimed to be. And he didn't even realize this at first. He's actually a Klingon. Internally, he's a Klingon in the guise of a human. Who
I thought if you're a Klingon, you look a certain
You do,
way.
unless you've been genetically rearranged. And your parts have been put inside of a human. So this is the Klingon that Michael killed back in episode 2 to save her captain. And so he has been put into a human body, basically, mind and all, and has been sent to Discovery to be a spy. So this was kind of hinted at last episode, but it is confirmed 100%, like he admitted to it in this episode. So that was a big reveal, and that is something that they've done in the books, where a Klingon has had a human look for one reason or another, but it's the first time in my memory that they've done it for the show, and it works. And how Michael handles that is very interesting. And then the other big reveal is we finally get to meet the Emperor of the Mirror Universe, the main bad guy, the one who is controlling everyone else.
Now, does this always happen in the Mirrorverse episodes?
No. This is because they keep saying Emperor, like the masculine.
Yeah.
And there was something that told me, okay, there's going to be a twist to who this Emperor is, and there is. It's our captain from the first 2 episodes. Michelle is back.
But she's a bad guy.
Yes, she is the BAMF, I think is the correct vernacular here. And she looks good as a bad guy. Yeah. When I saw her come, and you can look up screenshots, when I see her come out in her Emperor uniform, it's like, yeah, no, I'm bad guy now. I'm following her. That is, you have my allegiance just based on your badness alone here.
So what it sounds like you're saying is they're not done in the mirror.
They're not. There will be at least a third episode in the mirror universe.
That's unprecedented to you.
Yes, 100%. So, and I love that they're doing it. They're trying something different. They killed off in the last episode. They killed off a main character. Some things I don't like to spoil for our audience here, and they hint at different things they've never tried before on air.
Like the Klingon dude.
Yeah, and making definite good guys into incredible bad guys, like Michelle's character. And yeah, just putting our characters in these situations that you normally didn't have before because you were trying to please a network television audience. Now they're trying to please a streaming audience. And there is a difference in what they're going to do.
Yep.
So, yeah, and I like the way they're doing it. Is there room for improvement still? Yeah, there's some things they need to tighten up, like Captain Malfoy, as I'll call him. It's still kind of unclear on if he is really good, really bad. It's actually kind of unclear in this episode on which one we're looking at, if it's our regular one or if it somehow he got switched with the Mirror Universe character.
That's why you need the third episode.
Yeah. And we're going to learn a lot more about like Anthony Rapp's character and all that, because he kind of dies but then comes back. And then they allude to, and in the next episode sort of thing, they show him talking to himself, which we assume, because he's been kind of unconscious, we assume though that it will be the Mirror Universe version of him, but it could just be some subconscious thing going on. It has gotten to the point where I say if somebody has the funds to spend $7.99 or whatever it is a month, go for it. It's 11 episodes so far, so I
maybe
think
try to watch other shows while you're at it.
Yeah, but I think just for these 11, even like hypothetically, if Amazon did get their act together and start selling this show, they'd probably do it for $2-3.99 an episode. Mm-hmm. You're going to spend less than that if you at least pay for a month and watch these 11 episodes. That'll be worth it by itself, and I think it could have some value going forward. And it's been renewed for season 2. So, with no clue on what they're going to do with that. So
they're going to be around.
They are. And they have alluded to the fact that eventually the uniforms will start changing a little bit to match the original series.
Oh.
So how they're going to do that, who knows? My theory, and this is based on nothing, is that instead of coming back...
It's based on you.
It's based on me. That instead of coming back to Prime Universe that they came from, would be that they would actually end up in a third Mirror Universe, and that's where they start meeting Kirk's Enterprise and all that. They start meeting that timeline. But that's based on absolutely nothing in the show. That is pure fan speculation.
And they're also going to meet the old technology.
Yes, yeah. So we do need a little bit of that. So give me a cardboard background or something. So, anything else for this episode?
Oh boy. Can't think of anything that stood out, really.
Yeah.
I know that they finally released the airing day of Cloak and Dagger on Freeform,
right?
Which would be June 7th. Mm-hmm. Everybody, I don't have Freeform, but Hulu, you please. I know you're doing some shows,
yeah.
So I need you to.
If they can do Shadowhunter, they can do Cloak and Dagger.
I need you to step up on that one because I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And like we said when they announced the show,
mm-hmm.
I know what the audience is, so I'm not going to be fooled.
Right. Yeah. This will be a preteen to teen audience.
If it feels like that, don't worry, guys. I am aware. But yeah. I did see they put a 3-minute preview, which really didn't tell you a lot. But, I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also characters I'm more familiar with than, like, Black Lightning or something like that. So.
I'm not as familiar, but, it's that Marvel thing of they're taking chances with genres, networks, and,
And the Kool-Aid helps.
Oh, yeah, Kool-Aid helps.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, they've proven just because I'm in the Kool-Aid doesn't mean I can't be critical about things.
That's true. Yeah.
In humans, I'm looking at you.
Right. In humans, I'm not looking at you. That's the problem.
I looked at you the whole way.
Yeah.
So I think I have the best opinion on yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So,
But hey, but the Kool-Aid got me there, and I watched.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling. But the Inhumans had a disadvantage because I didn't want to say it to jinx anything, but it didn't look good anyway.
Right.
At least with Runaways, Punisher, even Cloak and Dagger at this point.
Yeah.
They haven't released a lot, but at least at this point, I have faith that it's like, ooh, this will be interesting.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, we'll see how it goes.
Right. Yeah. So I think that about wraps it up for this week, and we'll see you next week.